Now, platinum is a metal that is trading around about $1,400 an ounce, but that's not the reason for talking about platinum today. It's another human tragedy, another corporate tragedy, and another socio-economic and economic tragedy, I think. Listen to this. 2 security guards were hacked to death at a South African mine operated by the world's #3 platinum producer Lonmin on Sunday in new violence between rival unions. Company officials said, I suppose I have to bite my tongue on this one. But anyway, in the studio with us is AdCorp Labour analyst, and that's Lone Sharp. Lone, what do you make of this now? I mean, this is now an escalation of something that's been going on for quite a while, but this is very, very visible and very, very sad.
Yes, Lindsay, this is the third incident we've had in the platinum sector alone, starting with Aquarius and then Impala and now Lonmin. Basically, workers, large numbers of relatively skilled workers, are dissatisfied with the NUM, a COSATU-aligned union, and they're flexing their muscles by joining rival unions that are much more aggressive in their attitude toward management. And really, I think this is a culmination of many things. Union membership is declining, participation in strikes around the country is declining, and unions are scrambling to find new value propositions. And you can basically divide union responses or strategies into 2. The first kind of union in this group is looking to extend benefits to members. They're offering insurance products, funeral cover, they're offering bursaries and educational loans and so on. This is one group of approaches to changing their value proposition as unions, and the other group is really banging harder on the old traditional drum of improved worker benefits at the expense of companies. It will be interesting to see which of these 2 strategies survives in the long run. But for the time being, there's a mad scramble between unions whose membership is declining and who are battling to persuade their members to embark on strikes. We'll see how it works out.
Okay, so we've got the NUM on one side and AMCU, AMCU, if that's what we're going to call it, another acronym for us to conjure with. Who's behind it? Who's behind the upstart unions, so-called, in the report I'm reading now? Is it politically based? What's going on? Or is it just based on money and power? I just can't work it out.
It looks like the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union, the AMCU. It looks like they're instigating much of the violence. If we look at the pattern of those who have been injured, just at Lonmin's, at least 6 people have been shot and injured, and 2 dead, as you indicated, trying to protect company property from really extraordinary depravity. And so it looks like AMCU are the perpetrators in this case. But underlying that is really a cozy relationship between COSATU-aligned unions and company bosses, particularly rife in the mining sector where unionization is 81% of the workforce. So workers are tired of the politicking of COSATU-aligned unions. They're also tired of or dissatisfied with very modest wage gains each year. And they feel that with AMCU, they will find a much more hostile toward management, a much more belligerent approach, and presumably they hope that this will result in better benefits, higher wages over time.
Yes, of course. I mean, that's what it is. It's like the prefect at school who wants to be elected prefect and offers a free sweets. But the point is, I just wonder if AMCU is talking with Lonmin management, and if all the other unions also that are engaged in so-called industrial action are engaging with the other mines as well, like Implats and Amplats. And I wonder where we are now, because what worries me somewhat is that it's escalating and there is no significant progress being made and nobody is intervening. Surely somebody at a governmental level should be intervening here.
Well, again, in this case, as in so many others you and I have discussed, legislation is ultimately to blame. legislation in South Africa overwhelmingly favors the existence of a single large union behaving in a monopolistic fashion in a particular industry. Our bargaining council system, which is where trade unions get much of their wage setting power, is dominated by a handful of big businesses and big trade unions, who often represent less than 10% of an industry workforce, but who nonetheless set wages for the entire sector. So our legislation is absolutely to blame here. So the idea that government should step in, I think we're not going to get government stepping in this problem, because they're well aware in government that legislation passed 15 years ago is responsible for this extraordinary carving up of industries between trade unions.
Yeah, the sad thing about this is it's not an industry that is doing particularly well at the moment. The mines are actually producing metal at a loss, and therefore there isn't that much money to dole out. I could almost understand the unions saying, wait a second, the platinum price is $2,500 an ounce and the rand is 850 and you're making a fortune, so can we sit round the table and get a bigger slice of the pie? But it's while the mines are down that the unions are kicking them in the kidneys. I mean, it's a terrible thing, and I don't quite understand why, again, the government and the unions and the mines themselves don't sit down and say, look, this is the situation. This is a long-term prospect. We're very lucky. We've got 80% of the world's PGMs. Let's do something for the future. It just seems, everything seems so short-term, Lone.
Yeah, it is very much. The trade union interest is at most connected to a one-year horizon, and more likely a quarterly horizon when they report back on membership trends and patterns in their constituent unions. I mean, in the last COSATU document describing union membership, they devoted at least a third of more than 100 pages in their document to describing membership trends, membership patterns, etc. So I think the stark reality of retrenchments in the platinum sector, combined with reduced membership, have conspired to produce this incredibly violent set of circumstances. My view is that it's not going to improve. So long as the underlying hostility in labor-employer relations remains, we're going to see this kind of union rivalry not only in platinum but extending to other sectors. Construction, where there are similar retrenchments going on. In parts of financial services, we're seeing trade unions becoming hostile to management as a result of tight circumstances in finance. So I expect this kind of conflagration to extend to many other sectors as well. Unfortunately, as in so many cases, government will not have the political will to address it, because government is in an alliance with COSATU.
Lone, I really hope you're wrong in the fact in your assumption that it is going to spread to other sectors. But I think if AMCU gets its way and other unions see what's going on, or other workers in other unions see what's going on, then perhaps you might be right. But let's hope not. Thanks so much for joining us on Power Lunch this lunchtime. That's Lone Sharp, Labour analyst at